sort of slender foot with a sort of 4-foot bearer's foot type where the heel is everted. Yeah, so it's an unstable, long, slender foot. And this condition, I can't remember all the stages, but it goes through about 5 stages from just mild irritation, and then it starts to get degenerative changes, and ultimately it can rupture, right? If it ruptures, you end up, the patient will know it's snapped, because they'll feel it and it'll be very painful and swell, but they end up with almost an instant flat foot. You know, compared to the other foot, the arch on that side will end up very flat. Right. So what you've got to do is to palpate from the tuberosity and navicular, maybe painful there, and then you can palpate along the course of the tendon. It has a tendon sheath in this region, so part of the process can be that you get thickening and swelling of the tendon sheath. Right.
Is it easier to palpate than pronate foot?
Possibly yes, and that's the other thing that you can do. You can actually stress the tendon. Right? How would you put stress onto that tendon? Think about what it does, and then produce the opposite. What movements of the foot would you carry out to load the? How would you load the foot to tighten that tendon?
You pronate it.
Pronate it and dorsiflex the ankle. So if you were to dorsiflex the ankle and pronate the foot, that would tighten it up. Yeah. What other thing do you think the patient might not be able to do very easily?
Would they get some problem with flat foot when they go down if it decelerates? Does it?
Yeah, they do get flat foot, but thinking about examining them and thinking about what movements they could carry out, what other movement do you think might be uncomfortable for them?
Standing on their heels?
Standing on the tiptoes.
Yeah.
Yeah? They very often can't stand on the tiptoes because it's so uncomfortable. Right? Okay. So that's...
So what was that condition called?
It's called tibialis posterior tendinopathy. So the sort of things you do with this, investigations-wise, would be ultrasound scan, MR scan. What you're looking for is degenerative changes within the tendon, how badly damaged it is. Yeah? And then there are various orthoses need to be, the sort of feet that you've got are quite severely pronated and long, slender feet. So I would say with this condition, you really do need a casted orthotic device. Often with some intrinsic 4-foot posting to stop the but it is a very sort of debilitating condition. If you have this condition, it can seriously affect your lifestyle. You know, your ability to just go to the shops or just walk around is compromised quite significantly. So sort of physio, you know, the usual physio stuff, orthotics, probably first line treatment, and then depending on how it's degenerated, you may need to have surgical repair. Certainly if it's ruptured, you need surgical repair of it.
Do you get any benefit if you were inject it, steroid injection or anything? Or would you not do it because it's like a tendon, like your Achilles tendon?
You tend not to inject steroids anywhere near tendons because steroids inhibit fibroblast activity, and it's the fibroblasts that produce collagen. So not recommended for tendon injuries really. Be alright in a tendon sheath, but you wouldn't inject it into a tendon. And the other thing is as well, you're treating symptoms, you're not addressing the cause. Right? If the cause causes abnormal forces acting on the tendon, you've got to reduce those forces. Tissue stress theory again. Yeah? Okay. Now, if you remember, we also talked, we showed, who was it who had the tuberosity and navicular problem?
Me.
Right. So it often presents in kids. You get this lump over the navicular which may be attached or may be floating free. And if it's floating free, it tends to weaken the ability of the tibialis posterior to act. If you've got an unstable attachment, then it can be a problem. But the main presenting feature is in kids whose parents bring them. You know, they might be 7 or 8, and they're quite active at that stage, and they're starting to get rubbing on the shoe, which creates a red area, red lump, and they're also very pronated, so they may bring them with a pronation problem, or they may not be happy with this lump that's developed, which has gone red and uncomfortable.
What age